They say power protects power. And in Diddy's case, that protection and power might have also come with drugs and baby oil and a whole lot of threats. In federal court this week, Diddy's former personal assistant said cleaning up the mess after 6 marathons, sex marathons, was just part of the job. I don't know what job that is. But George Kaplan, the assistant, testified that he tossed liquor bottles, pills, and lube after what prosecutors call freak-offs. And if you didn't know what a freak-off is, you should at this point from pop culture. Freak-offs are sex parties that allegedly involved Cassie, male escorts, and sometimes violence. Kaplan said Diddy sent him out to buy some MDMA. If you don't know MDMA, now allow me to feel cool for 10 seconds and say it's a drug whose street name is ecstasy or Molly. And Diddy sent him to get the drugs and delivered so-called medicine kits filled with prescription pills to hotel rooms. Now, Kaplan has immunity. Just want to make that clear. I don't think it's particularly relevant, but if I don't mention it, it'll seem like I'm not mentioning it for a reason. So now that he's got immunity, Kaplan is spilling everything, including the moment that he quit. He says that he quit after watching Diddy beat Cassie. I want to just add something to that. There were a lot of people on Diddy's team, there were a lot of bodyguards and assistants and colleagues and mentees, whatever, who are all over YouTube, all over the world, talking about all the awful things Diddy did. But they didn't leave. The ones I'm talking about, they stayed, they made money, they exploited the situation. And so for me, when I hear somebody say, hey, I quit after watching what Diddy did to Cassie, I respect and appreciate that. That's all. But it gets crazier. Cassie says when she tried to date Kid Cudi back in 2011, that Diddy totally lost his mind. She says he threatened to hurt both of them and demanded $20,000 from Cassie's mom. You hear me? She says he threatened to hurt Cassie and Kid Cudi. And then allegedly, according to her, Diddy went to Cassie's family, her mom, and made her give him $20,000 or else he was going to leak like a sex tape, allegedly. So that's an ugly, vicious, nasty thing to do. Again, I can't prove he did it. I can't prove he didn't do it. But I'll tell you, anyone who would do that is a terrible person. And then it wasn't just extorting Cassie's mom. She was seeing Cudi and Diddy's latest allegation against him. And we heard this months ago, so this is new information to most of y'all, but it's new to the court, is that Kid Cudi's convertible got blown up. Kid Cudi's car was blown up because he was dating Cassie. It seemed to be a threat that was made allegedly and carried out. It was more of a promise. Now, Diddy's team is saying something very different than Cassie's team. Diddy's team is saying, look, we're winning this trial. This isn't sex trafficking. It's just an unhealthy relationship from what they call a complicated man. I think we can take a step back and say Diddy's not complicated. I mean, he might be complicated, but he's also just awful. I don't need a morally, ethically ambiguous descriptor of him. He's awful. I don't know enough about Puff or his life to have any opinions on this from a personal level, but from the outside looking in, it looks to me that the trafficking part of this case can still be made, and that it will be made, and that it just hasn't happened yet. In other words, I think that the prosecution is slow walking its case. They're putting things out very deliberately and intentionally. They made a few mistakes now in the last 48 hours, but at the end of the day, they're building a case that Diddy's as a scary monster behind closed doors and when the cameras are off. once you establish that, even from things that don't seem pertinent or directly germane to the charge, i.e., this isn't racketeering, even if he beat her every day, someone could argue it doesn't mean he did the things that he's accused of doing legally. But the problem is so many of the charges against Diddy hinge upon a person being coerced, forced, or frauded. And so it's, if Cassie at any point says that she engaged in activities that she didn't want to do, or she engaged in activities out of fear, that complicates things, particularly when there's sex workers involved, because now the sex workers are illegal and wherever they are. And using your business to pay for them is super illegal, no matter where they are, at least in the United States. I mean, not in the world. So with those things in mind, you might need jury nullification. So like I could see a jury saying, look, Diddy's terrible, he's fucked up, but he didn't do this thing he's charged for. But juries tend to be more nuanced and complicated than that too. They may be like, he did something. We don't get it with something. Like what Denzel said, I'm leaving here with something. Might be one of those situations. I can't say. What I can say is that it is highly unlikely that the jury doesn't see Diddy as a monster at this point. It's just a question of how tightly they are attached to the jury instructions, how closely they read what the do's and don't do's. Like if they do all of that and look at all the evidence, I don't see Diddy getting a full not guilty. He may not get roofed, but he gonna get, again, he leaving here with something. But you know what's next? Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi up next. Kid Cudi on deck. He's gonna hit that stand, and sky is gonna open up.